What if I told you that you were in a prison and you don't even know it? It's a prison that you cannot see, smell, taste, or feel. And more than that, there are no jailers. This might actually be your reality. This whole world that we think is real might be nothing more than an advanced computer simulation that's keeping you trapped here so that you become a better functioning member of society. Now, I don't know if this is true, but if it were true, then there's something very interesting that we can steal from various spiritual traditions that study this idea of us living in a fake reality, because they're all over. There are traditions across the globe who believe that this is not reality. The commonality is that if this is a jail, you hold the keys to get yourself out, and you don't even realize it. So hey y'all, if we haven't met before, my name is Kaelan, and I am so excited to share this video with you. It's something I've been thinking about for quite some time, and I've got some cool thoughts to share. I'm an ecstatic life coach. I work with people around the world to help them become better people. I host this YouTube channel, I've written a few books, and let's just dive into this, shall we? So you've probably heard that this world is some form of illusion. Different cultures, different spiritual traditions call it different things. In the East, we call it Maya. In the West, we might call it the Great Dream. But from the Buddhists to the Hindus to the Gnostic Christians to the indigenous traditions of the Western Hemisphere, there has been this idea that this isn't real. You are asleep and eventually you will wake up. This world is nothing more than a dream, an illusion. And scientists are even beginning to explore the hypothesis that this may not actually be reality. This might be a computer simulation, because fact is, we are going to reach a point in the not too distant future where we will have the computing capacity to create a simulated reality so real that you cannot tell that it's not the real world. That everything tastes and feels and sounds like true reality. Because none of these things that I touch or smell are actually being touched or smelled. I'm just reading electrical impulses being sent up to my brain that is telling me I'm touching, I'm feeling, I'm sensing something. I don't know if I actually am or not. And so what if we have already, as a society, arrived at that point, and we have already created a simulation that we put people in, and we've forgotten it? I mean, clearly this is the premise of movies like The Matrix, a classic. But people like Neil deGrasse Tyson think the odds are at least 50% that this could be true. So why then do I say this might actually be a prison? Follow me with an idea really quickly. Our modern penitentiary system is pretty terrible. We lock people up for decades. They do not get treated well. That's not something I'd even wish on an animal. And at the end of their time in prison, they may or may not be any better than when they entered. These are not rehabilitation programs. They do not make people a more well-functioning member of society, which is very unfortunate for the amount of money we waste on prisons. What if instead of putting people in a physical prison, we could put them in a mental one? And here's what's really interesting to me is we know dream time and waking time run differently. You could be asleep for 10 minutes, but you could have so much happen in that short period of time. What if we reached a point in society where we said, hey, instead of being locked up for 50 years, what if instead we drop you for 2 weeks in a computer simulation? You'll forget everything about this world. You'll forget who you really are. For all intents and purposes, for those 2 weeks, you will be somebody completely different, and you're going to go through experiences that will help you become a better human being. Do you say yes? Most of us would. When we look at films like Inception or the TV show Dollhouse or plenty of other sci-fi shows out nowadays, we see this as a reoccurring theme that people have been exploring. Because this world is not an easy place to live in. People are disgruntled, people are unhappy, and there are many, many people who are incarnated on the earth right now who don't feel like they belong here, where they feel like this is not true reality, this is not how people are meant to behave, this is some sort of weird, twisted dream. Heck, even Taylor Swift released a song in her most recent album, The Tortured Poets Department, called I Hate It Here, that explores this very idea. And there's a lot of good reasons to argue that this may in fact be a computer simulation. Take light, for example. There is this thing called the double slit experiment that examines how light can sometimes function as a particle and sometimes as a wave. And what's really interesting, and I'll drop a link in the description to a more thorough explanation about the double slit experiment, what's so interesting about it is light behaves differently whether or not a human is watching. Like, let that sink in for a moment. Light changes based on whether a human being is watching it or not. Not only changes in the moment, but also changes retroactively. It goes back in time and changes how it behaves if it now realizes a human is watching. And not just like a couple feet it can go back in time, it can go back hundreds of millions of light years and change how it's been operating as soon as a human is observing it. Even the speed of light itself. Why can nothing move faster than the speed of light? That's an interesting thing. Nothing can go faster than the speed of light. Well, why? Well, if you're creating a computer simulation, that's a really useful way to make sure your inhabitants can't travel too far off land, can it? You don't have to render millions and millions of different universes if your Jaylees can't go too far because they can't go faster than the speed of light. Why I think it's important to explore the possibility that this might be a prison is because of a word that is commonly used in numerous spiritual traditions, and it's this: liberation. Many different faiths talk about how we need to achieve a state of liberation from this reality. The Gnostic Christians believed that this was a terrible universe created by the demiurge, a lesser being created by God who was imperfect and then created an imperfect universe, and we had to escape it to reunite with the true God. The Buddhists talk about nirvana, the Hindus talk about moksha. It's a theme that repeats itself across cultures and across times. And I don't know if you believe in reincarnation or not, but one of the themes for cultures who believe in reincarnation is karma, or cause and effect. That based on your previous actions, you will now have experiences you have to go through, lessons you must learn to help correct those previous actions. Well, how useful would that be then as a prison system to help people learn, hey, your bad actions have an effect that you are going to feel in this body, in this lifetime, or in a next lifetime. So could it be entirely possible that we could take that 2 weeks of real time and somehow condense in 500 lifetimes of cause and effect, where each lifetime is based on the previous one, and you start to learn and grow over those successive lifetimes? Yeah, that could be entirely within the realm of possibility. Because here's the interesting thing about this world. Talk to anybody who's been on a spiritual journey and they'll tell you, as you start to level up, as you start to clear and purify your mind, resonate with higher states of being, the solidity of reality starts to wobble a bit. Like it becomes a lot less concrete than you think. More than that, you begin to realize that you are actually the creator of your own reality, that the external world is reflecting your inner one, and as your inner world changes, so does your external world. And so as you continue to level up and level up and level up, the walls of reality start to crumble, and you start to live in this much more expansive, fluid, changing state. What if all these talks of liberation from a spiritual perspective were nothing more than talking about different ways to escape this video game that you have been trapped in? It would mean that you are the jailer. More than you are the jailer, you are the creator of this reality. That this world is a byproduct of your mind, which is incidentally a thought that religion has, that this world is created by mind, by thought, and it is a reflection of you, who is God incarnate, or you are the programmer incarnate in this simulation. And as you, lifetime to lifetime, incarnation to incarnation, start to realize the realities of this world, the rules by which it's organized, you begin to be able to play with it. And slowly but surely, you begin to escape. I mean, that's, I think, the fascinating thing, right? Like, if you created this simulation for you to live in as a way to learn and grow, how fascinating would it be to set it up so that you didn't even know you were there? That you put yourself in an escape room, didn't know it was an escape room, but knew that if you gave yourself enough time, you'd start to see the rules, you'd start to see the clues, and you'd start to find your way out. Wow, what a fabulous game that would be. That's another term that different spiritual traditions call this, the great game, the Rasa of Leela. This is a great game we are playing in our quote-unquote reality. Ultimately, I think this is a really hopeful idea, because if this is a prison, through your kindness, compassion, self-awareness, mindfulness, and your open heart, you can begin to see the walls you've constructed. You can find the door, open it, and set yourself free. It's ultimately a very empowering message that this reality isn't a prison, it's a gift. It's a laboratory. It's a place to explore and try things. And I can guarantee you one thing, regardless of whether this reality is real or not, it is a place that you consciously chose to enter. And when you're ready, you can consciously leave. And I don't know for sure what's on the other side of that, but the many different ascended masters and people throughout time who have escaped our reality tell us it's so much better than we could imagine. So is it time? Is it time for you to crack your own code and start to realize that you can create a completely different reality, and you can create heaven on earth if only you change your mind? I'm Kaelan, and this is Ecstatic Self, and welcome to the real world.